It's 1884. Four men set sail from England to Australia aboard a small yacht named Mignonette. Their journey was never meant to make headlines, but fate had other plans. Somewhere in the South Atlantic, disaster strikes. A massive wave tears the yacht apart. Only four men survive. Captain Thomas Dudley, first mate Edwin Stephens, sailor Edmund Brooks, and 17-year-old cabin boy Richard Parker. They managed to escape into a tiny lifeboat. No rescue in sight, no radio, no land, just an endless stretch of ocean and a single tin of turnips. They eat it on day one. Days pass, they catch a turtle. It doesn't last long. Then nothing. No food, no water. Just sunburn, thirst, and the gnawing sense that they won't all make it out alive. On the 19th day, with no rescue in sight and death hovering over the boat, Thomas Dudley breaks the silence. He proposes the unthinkable: kill the weakest to save the rest. Edmund Brooks refuses, but Edwin Stephens agrees. Richard Parker, just 17 years old, orphaned and now drifting in and out of consciousness after drinking seawater, is the obvious choice. Dudley kneels, whispers a prayer, and plunges a penknife into the boy's throat. Over the next few days, they consume parts of Parker's body, blood, organs, flesh, enough to stay alive. On the 24th day, a passing vessel finally appears on the horizon. The survivors are rescued, brought back to England, and suddenly the real storm begins. They've cheated death, but at what cost? Was it murder, mercy, or just nature taking over? And more importantly, what would you have done? Let's step back. This isn't just a tale of desperation, it's a moral experiment played out on open water. What Dudley and Stephens did forces us to ask, what is morality when civilization disappears? From a utilitarian perspective, their logic was brutally simple: take one life to save three. Parker was dying. They believed they were next. By sacrificing one, the others lived. That's maximum utility. Painful, but rational. But then comes cosmopolitan ethics, and everything changes. According to them, some actions are always wrong, no matter the outcome. Murder, even to save others, violates the principle that human beings are ends in themselves, not tools. Parker was not a solution. He was a person. Then there's the social contract theory, the idea that morality comes from agreements we make in society. But what happens when society disappears? No courts, no police, just a lifeboat and death. Does the contract still apply? And let's not forget consent. If Parker had volunteered to sacrifice himself, this story might be viewed differently. But he didn't. He was unconscious. He never had a choice. Philosophers have debated trolley problems for centuries. Would you pull the lever to save 5 lives at the cost of 1? But Dudley and Stephens didn't pull a lever. They pulled a knife. Maybe you're thinking, well, that was the 1800s. People were different back then. But the truth is, these dilemmas didn't sink with the Mignonette. In 1972, a plane crashed in the Andes carrying a rugby team. With no rescue in sight and extreme cold setting in, survivors made the same choice. They ate the bodies of the dead to stay alive. Unlike Dudley and Stephens, they didn't kill anyone, but the moral weight was still enormous. And yet, most people sympathized with them. Why? Because context matters. In some stories, survival cannibalism is met with horror. In others, with forgiveness. Even in fiction, we wrestle with this. From Lord of the Flies to The Walking Dead, we're obsessed with asking, what would we become if the rules disappeared? And the truth is, when stripped of comfort, law, and civilization, we're all capable of choices we might never imagine. That's what scares us most about stories like these. Not the blood, not the knife, but the mirror they hold up to us. Would you judge them, or would you be them? When the case of R.V. Dudley and Stephens went to court, the nation was divided. Some called them heroes of survival, others called them cold-blooded killers. In the end, the court made its stance clear: necessity is not a defense for murder. Dudley and Stephens were found guilty and sentenced to death. But perhaps in recognition of the moral gray zone, the Crown commuted their sentence to 6 months in prison. The message was loud and clear: even at the edge of death, there are lines you cannot cross. But morality is murkier. Was it a monstrous act or a tragic necessity? Can we sit in judgment of men whose shoes we've never walked in, whose hunger we've never felt? The sea is quiet now, but the question lingers: if you were in that lifeboat, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if this story made you think, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves philosophy. Thank you.